Hey there and welcome. So, are you ready to finally get a handle on percentages? Feel totally confident when you're figuring out a discount, checking a test score, or just trying to make sense of the news? Percentages are absolutely everywhere. So let's just dive right in and make you a percentage pro in like the next few minutes.
I mean, you see this little symbol all over the place, right? It's kind of funny looking. Two little circles with a slash. But what is it really trying to tell us? Well, we're going to decode it together, and I promise you it is so much simpler than it looks. Okay, so first things first, we're going to crack the code on what the word percent even means. Seriously, once you get this one little idea, everything else is just going to click.
So, what's the big secret? It's actually hidden in the name. Percent comes from this old Latin phrase, per centum, which just means per hundred. Yep, that's it. That's the whole secret. From now on, every single time you see a percentage, I just want you to think, out of 100.
Okay, let's make this super easy to picture. Imagine a giant pizza, okay? But this one is cut into 100 tiny slices. If someone says you ate 30% of it, well, that just means you ate 30 of those 100 slices. All of a sudden, 30% isn't some weird abstract number. It's a very real and very delicious amount of pizza. Or hey, think about money. You already know this. There are 100 cents in $1, right? So 50 cents is literally 50 times out of 100, which is just 50% of a dollar. See? You've been using percentages your whole life and probably didn't even think about it.
All right, so now that we've got a handle on what a percent is, let's bring in its close cousins, fractions and decimals. I want you to think of them as three members of the same family. They all represent the exact same value. They just wear different outfits.
A great way to think about it is it's like having three different nicknames for the same friend. Like 50%, the fraction 1/2, and the decimal 0.5. They are all just different ways of saying the exact same thing, half.
Okay, time to get practical. Let's talk about how to actually switch between these forms. Consider this your personal how-to guide for becoming a conversion champ. So, let's start with a little challenge. Let's say you see a sign that says 40% off. How do you turn that into a fraction in your head? Well, the answer is already baked right into the word percent. Remember what it means? That's right, per hundred. So step one is always just to write the number over 100. So 40% becomes 40 over 100. Easy enough. Then, just like any other fraction, you want to simplify it if you can. Here you can divide both the top and the bottom by 20, which leaves you with 2/5.
And boom, there you go. 40% is the exact same thing as the fraction 2/5. See? Not so bad, right? You basically just translated something from one math language into another.
Okay, you ready for the next one? What about going the other way? Let's say you're looking at a number like 0.25. How do you flip that into a percentage? Oh, there is an awesome, super fast shortcut for this.
This is seriously one of my favorite little math tricks. All you do is take that decimal point and just slide it 2 spots to the right. 1, 2. Then you just slap that percent sign on the end. The direction is super important though. Remember, from a decimal to a percent, you're moving to the right. And poof, just like that, 0.25 becomes 25%. It is honestly that simple. 1, 2, add the sign. And this works for any decimal. 0.75, that's 75%. 0.05, that's 5%. You totally got this. Now here's a little cheat sheet with the conversions you are going to see all the time. Honestly, if you can just memorize these key ones, like knowing that 50% is the same as 0.5 or 1/2, it's like having a little superpower. It makes doing math in your head so much faster.
Okay, that's enough theory. Let's see how this stuff actually works in real life. This is where you get to put your brand new pro skills to the test.
So here's a classic one. Imagine you just got a test back. You answered 18 questions right, out of a total of 20. So, what's your score as a percentage? Let's figure it out together.
Okay, the magic formula here is always the part divided by the whole, and then you multiply that by 100. So in this case, the part is the 18 you got right, and the whole is the total, which is 20. So you take 18 divided by 20, that gives you the decimal 0.9. And then, just like we practiced, you multiply by 100. Or just slide that decimal 2 spots to the right, and you get 90. Add the percent sign, and you just got a 90% on your test. Nice!
All right, let's do one more. Let's say you've got a group of 40 students, and 10 of them walk to school. What percentage of the students are walkers? It's the same idea, right? Part divided by whole. The part is the 10 students who walk, and the whole is the total of 40 students. So we just divide our part, 10 walkers, by the whole, 40 students total. That gives us 0.25, and we already know what that is, right? It's 25%. This chart shows it perfectly. That smaller slice, 1/4 of the circle, represents the walkers, while the other 75% get to school some other way.
All right, to wrap this all up, let's talk about a few pro tips, because knowing the common mistakes to avoid, well, that's the final step to becoming a real percentage pro. Let's make sure you don't fall for these easy traps.
So here are the biggest mistakes people make. First, don't forget the percent sign. 50 is a totally different number than 50%. Second, always make sure you're dividing the part by the whole, not the other way around. Third, remember to move that decimal point 2 places, not just 1. And lastly, before you start multiplying or dividing, you've got to convert the percentage into a decimal or a fraction first. Oh, and one last thing. Don't let it throw you if you ever see a percentage that's bigger than 100. It is totally possible. Remember, 100% is just one whole thing. So 150% just means you have one whole thing plus an extra half of another. Like if a business grew by 150%, that is some seriously good news. So, there you have it. The code is cracked. Percentages are really just a simple way of talking about things out of 100. Now that you speak the language, my question for you is, where are you going to spot percentages out in the wild today? At the store, watching the news, playing a game. You're a pro now. Go put those new skills to work.